ಮಿಗುತುಂ ಕೇಂಬೊಯ್ಮುಗೆ ನುರಂಗಳು ಆದತಕ ಹೆಲಿಫೆಲಿವೆಗಳು ಮದೂಮಾ ದುಂಫತ್ ಕೇಸ್ತಿಮಾಲ್ ಕುರುಂ ಅದಿ ರಾಬುಯಿಂ ಫದ ಆದಕಾದತಂ ಹಿಮೆನೆ
Making headlines this hour, President Dr. Mohamed Muiz pledges to initiate several infrastructure development projects in Magudu, Nuna Atoll before the end of the year. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz states that patriotism takes precedence over political divisions, noting that political currents pale in comparison to patriotism. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that it is an honor to participate in these celebrations marking the Maldives' 60th anniversary of the Maldives' independence.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz pledges to initiate several infrastructure development projects in Magudu, Nuna Atoll before the end of the year.
Addressing residents of Magudu during his visit to the island as part of a 4-day tour of the atoll, the president reflected on his electoral pledges to the island, explaining that after assuming office, he had explored ways to organize new projects and resume stalled projects across the Maldives. With the developmental vision now systemized, the government is now initiating efforts to kickstart projects throughout the island nation. In his address, the president first highlighted the island's long-delayed water and sewerage project. He explained that under his administration, the work has been structured across multiple state-owned companies, the Maldives Water and Sewerage Company overseeing material procurement and Fenica Corporation Limited providing the required human resources for implementation. President Dr. Muiz further revealed that numerous development agreements across the Maldives are expected to be signed in September, with work commencing soon after. For Magudu specifically, he announced plans to extend the health center and assured residents that staffing shortages would be resolved in coordination with the relevant ministry. He also pledged to address space constraints at the local school and to facilitate developments in the island's sports sector. Additionally, he announced that the Coastal Protection Project for Magudu is scheduled to be signed next month. The initiative will include the development of a designated area for beachgoers and swimmers. The president stressed that practical work on these projects would begin soon. Concluding his remarks, President Dr. Muiz expressed hope that his next visit to Magudu would be to celebrate the successful completion of these initiatives. As part of his visit to Magudu, President Dr. Muiz officially inaugurated the island's new harbor during a small ceremony. The president also attended the groundbreaking of the new police station on Magudu, a component of his administration's commitment to establishing security facilities on every island within 2 years. The president also witnessed the groundbreaking of the Magudu Fitness and Recreation Center. During the visit, President Dr. Muiz met with members of Magudu Island Council, the Women's Development Committee, and heads of local institutions to discuss the island's key developmental priorities. Magudu is the 10th island visited by President Muiz on his 4-day tour of Nuna Atoll.
President Dr. Mohamed Muiz states that patriotism takes precedence over political divisions, noting that political currents pale in comparison to patriotism. He made the statement addressing the residents of Validu as part of his ongoing tour of the inhabited islands of Nuna Atoll.
In his address, the president said that elected officials need to lend their support to fully actualizing developmental plans, adding that their political affiliation should not be a hindrance to their office. He said the developmental plans would reach their full potential with the full support of parliament members and councillors. He appealed to elected officials to lend their support despite conflicting opinions. The president also underscored the importance of preserving Maldivian identity and unity. The president asserted that the preservation of the Maldives' dignity and stability for future generations can only be achieved through the prioritization of national interests and the revitalization of patriotic spirit, reiterating that true patriotism entails placing the nation above individual interests. He further emphasized that patriotism must constitute the nexus underpinning true development. Moving on to pledges for Velidu, the president announced that a seaplane platform will be established in the island with operations expected to begin by January next year. Furthermore, the foundation stone for Velidu's drug rehabilitation center was laid by the Minister of Homeland Security and Technology, Ali Ihosan, and the contractor Road Development Corporation Limited's managing director, Ali Zuhair. To add, the practical work of the island's land reclamation project was also launched. The project, which aims to dredge 2.7 hectares of land for a boatyard, was inaugurated by the Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib. The land reclamation project aims to increase economic opportunities for the island's residents. The reclaimed area will be used for boat haul-out services and fiber worlds, a niche commercial industry currently practiced in only a few islands across the Maldives. The president was also in attendance for the launch of the construction of a police station in Velidu. The foundation stone of the police station was laid by the Minister of Homeland Security and Technology, Ali Ihosan. Commissioner of Police Ismail Naveen, Road Development Corporation Managing Director Ali Zuhair, and Velidu Council President, who was also in attendance at the ceremony. Earlier, President Muiz met with members of the Velidu Island Council, the Women's Development Committee, and heads of several local institutions to discuss the island's key development priorities. Velidu is the 11th destination on President Muiz's 4-day official visit to Nuno Atoll.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that it is an honor to participate in the celebrations marking the 60th anniversary of the Maldives' independence. Modi made the remarks in a post on his official X account ahead of his official visit to the Maldives on 25th July. In the post, Prime Minister Modi confirmed that he is visiting the Maldives at the invitation of the Maldivian President Dr. Mohamed Muiz. He said it was an honor for him to attend the Maldives Independence Day celebrations, noting that the trip also coincides with the 60th anniversary of India-Maldives diplomatic relations. During his visit to the Maldives, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to attend official functions and participate in high-level bilateral talks with President Muiz. The discussions are aimed at strengthening cooperation across multiple sectors. President Muiz has previously made 2 official visits to India. His first visit was to attend the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Modi in June last year, followed by a state visit to India in October the same year. Visit Maldives Corporation announces a joint marketing campaign with the Ignite Travel Group, an award-winning Australian destination marketing and travel distribution company, to promote the Maldives as a premier travel destination within the Australian market.
The joint marketing campaign is set to run from the 17th of July to the 31st of August 2025. This joint promotional campaign is strategically aligned with Visit Maldives brand's objectives to significantly increase brand visibility and drive tourism from Australia. According to the Visit Maldives Corporation, it leverages Ignite Travel Group's extensive experience and multi-channel approach to position the Maldives as a premier accessible and aspirational travel destination. The campaign also supports conversion through established platforms like Flight Centre and My Holiday, with their flagship brand My Maldives promoting curated Maldivian travel experiences to high-value Australian travelers, including couples and honeymooners. The campaign also focuses on driving engagement through traditional press coverage and impactful digital display advertising on key Australian media platforms to capture the attention of potential travelers. This strategic campaign targets the Australian outbound market during a low season period for the Maldives, focusing on increasing both the length of stay and visitor spend. It is designed to tap into key customer segments such as professional couples and families who are seeking luxury travel experiences. Australia is a significant market for the Maldives tourism industry. As of the 29th of June, 20,613 travelers have arrived from Australia in 2025. Visit Maldives Corporation consistently conducts various marketing and promotional activities to enhance the Maldives brand presence in the Australian market, including recent joint initiatives with Singapore Airlines and stakeholders from Australia. Visit Maldives Corporation said it will continue its robust marketing efforts to strengthen the Maldives' position as the top travel destination for Australian travelers.
The 21st Asia Media Summit will be held in the Maldives next year, marking the first time the summit will take place in the island nation. The announcement was made during the handover ceremony of the 20th Asia Media Summit held on 23rd July. The official handover document was received on behalf of the Maldives by Hina Walid, the presidential spokesperson. The announcement was well received by the participants of the 20th Asia Media Summit. The Asia Media Summit will be held in the Maldives in collaboration with the Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development and the Maldives National Media, Public Service Media. This event is expected to offer a valuable opportunity to promote the Maldives across the world. The 20th Asia Media Summit held in Siem Reap, Cambodia, was attended by more than 300 delegates from over 30 countries, including senior media officials and policy makers from across the Asia-Pacific region. The Maldivian delegation included representatives from PSM, the Maldives Broadcasting Commission and other media professionals. The Asia Media Summit, held since 2004, is a flagship annual conference of AIBD. It serves as a platform for global media and broadcasting leaders to exchange ideas, share experiences and explore strategies for development and innovation of the media sector. The main theme of this year's conference is celebrating 2 decades of excellence and beyond. President of the Maldives Broadcasting Commission, Safa Shafiq, has highlighted the crucial role of the media in the fight against climate change. She made the remarks while speaking at the 4th plenary session of the 20th Asia Media Summit in Cambodia. Speaking on the theme Media and Climate Action, the Road to Stability, Safa stressed that the media must be more aware of the adverse impact of climate change on island nations such as the Maldives. She noted that countries like the Maldives are already facing challenges such as sea swells, water pollution, beach erosion and coral bleaching as a result of climate change. She said, therefore, journalists have a powerful role to play in raising public awareness on such issues, stressing that delayed action will result in damage for future generations. Safa also noted that the Maldivian government is taking various measures to mitigate the impact of climate change through various policies and initiatives. Maldives National Defense Force Coast Guard says the iconic shipwreck in Wau Atoll has broken off the shallow lagoon and is drifting away at sea, urging caution for vessels traveling in the area. MNDF said the shipwreck is expected to drift along the channel between Wau Atoll and Meme Atoll and urged vessels traveling around the area to be wary, especially during dark. The origins of the Wau shipwreck remain shrouded in mystery. What is known, however, is that the vessel succumbed to the relentless forces of nature during a massive storm in 2015, coming to rest at a dramatic 140-degree angle in shallow waters of Kuta Lagoon. Unlike deeper wrecks reserved for experienced divers, this shipwreck is a snorkeler's dream, as it, bow emerging from the waters, offers a striking visual from the surface. The shipwreck attracts dozens of tourists and locals every day and was renowned once a top snorkeling sites in the Maldives. South Korea's finance ministry says talks between top South Korean and U.S. officials to negotiate over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs are postponed due to a scheduling conflict for U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
South Korean Finance Minister Ko Yong-chol was set to board a flight for Washington today to attend the meeting with Besant on Friday, July 25th, in the hope of hammering out a deal that would spare Asia's fourth largest economy from Trump's punishing 25% tariffs set to take effect on August 1st. A ministry spokesman told reporters who were at the airport to cover South Korean Finance Minister Ko's departure for Washington that the United States got back to them, stating that the meeting will be possible soon. Pressure on South Korea heightened this week after Japan clinched a deal with the United States, which Trump said would see Tokyo allowing greater market access for American products, including autos and some agricultural products.
Andrei Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, meets Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan in Ankara ahead of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine scheduled to take place in Istanbul.
The Kremlin reported that Russian negotiators also flew to Turkey before what will be the first direct discussions between the warring sides in more than 7 weeks. Russia played down expectations of any breakthrough at the meeting, which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said this week should focus in part on preparing a summit between himself and President Vladimir Putin. Previous talks in Istanbul on May 16th and June 2nd led to the exchange of thousands of prisoners of war and the remains of dead soldiers. But those meetings lasted less than 3 hours in total and made no breakthroughs towards a ceasefire or a settlement to end almost 3.5 years of war. U.S. President Donald Trump last week threatened heavy new sanctions on Russia and countries that buy its exports unless a peace deal was reached within 50 days. But 3 sources close to the Kremlin told Reuters that Putin, unfazed by Trump's ultimatum, would keep on fighting in Ukraine until the West engaged on his terms for peace, and that his territorial demands may widen as Russian forces advance.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff is traveling to Europe for meetings with key regional leaders aimed at advancing a ceasefire agreement in Gaza.
According to international news outlets, Witkoff is expected to arrive in Rome on the 24th of July for meetings with Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer and a senior Qatari official. If talks progress, he could travel to Doha later in the week in a push to finalize a deal.
Special Envoy Witkoff is headed to Europe, where he will meet with key leaders from the Middle East to discuss the ongoing ceasefire proposal to end this conflict in Gaza and to release the hostages. These are very sensitive negotiations that are currently taking place. I spoke to Special Envoy Witkoff last night about them. I will let him speak further on the matter, but the President and Special Envoy Witkoff has made the administration's goals clear. We want this ceasefire to happen as soon as possible, and we want these hostages to be released.
Leavitt said both President Donald Trump and Witkoff are committed to securing a truce and end to the conflict in Gaza. The Israeli genocide has killed over 59,000 Palestinians, according to health officials, displaced almost the entire population and caused a humanitarian crisis. The World Health Organization describes the health sector in Gaza as being on its knees with shortages of fuel, medical supplies, and frequent mass casualty influxes.
Spain's Aitana Bonmati strikes a superb extra-time winner to fire up side to a 1-0 victory over Germany and send them through to the Women's European Championship final for the first time.
The win set up a decider against holders England in Basel on Sunday in a repeat of the 2023 World Cup final that saw the Spaniards crowned world champions for the first time. Bonmati finally broke the deadlock in the 113th minute, picking up a ball in the left channel and spotting a gap left by Germany keeper Ann-Katrin Berger at the near post before whipping a shot from a tight angle into the net. Spain captain Irene Paredes struck the foot of a post with a first-half header as her side dominated possession, with the Germans building a solid block and inviting the Spaniards to attack while they attempted to strike on the counter. Germany winger Clara Buell was impressive throughout, getting in behind the Spanish defense in the 63rd minute but shooting straight at keeper Cata Cole. With the Germans defending superbly, Spain struggled to break them down, and they were almost caught out in stoppage time when Buell had a deflected effort that Cole had to claw away, but the game ended scoreless, forcing extra time. The Germans, who came into the game with a record of 9 wins in 10 previous Euro semifinals, looked set to drag the match to penalties, but Bonmati had other ideas. For Bonmati, who suffered a meningitis-related health scare in the lead-up to the tournament, the goal was a sweet one as the Spaniards defeated Germany for the first time at a major finals.
Jack Lusaranian, the co-founder and CEO of Pittsburgh-based Gecko Robotics, left for Washington, D.C. on 22nd July for U.S. President Donald Trump's event, Winning the AI Race, which took place yesterday, the 23rd of July.
Founded in 2013, Gecko Robotics has partnered with military and private contractor companies, most recently with a defense firm, BPMI, to inspect U.S. Navy nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and submarines, as well as U.S. Steel to examine the company's plans. In June, Gecko Robotics announced a $125 million Series D, boosting its valuations to $1.25 billion. Lusaranian started Gecko Robotics because someone he knew fell and died gathering physical health data off a rope inside a power plant. The challenge for his company is, according to Lusaranian, to create as many of those digital clones as possible to enable wider use of artificial intelligence.
You're going to start seeing robots everywhere. But my take is that you won't necessarily see them folding laundry or making your breakfast. But they're going to be all over physical infrastructure, doing the dirty jobs and enabling folks on the ground to be supercharged with new information and data sets to make their jobs safer and most efficient. And the company is going to benefit unfairly to those that aren't able to adapt because of an ability to predict downtime and extend the useful life of the assets, operate their facilities at 3, 4, 5% more efficiency, and also be able to get a higher return on investment per employee. These kinds of breakthroughs are what you should expect over the next 4 to 5 years. And again, those that don't move quickly are going to be the ones that get left behind. And so you'll see some pretty large shifts in stock prices.
Lusaranian said he was thinking about an initial public offering, but not earlier than in 4 or 5 years.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.
Fahurweri minimum $5.